real event happening in the country. So if any difficult subject is there and it is technically very difficult for a public to understand, then what these researchers and educationalists try to do, they make use of the graphs and diagrams and make the common people understand what is going on in the country. So it is said difficult subject study made easier and less confusing by use of diagrams and graphs. Second point, see, we can have one example like population growth. Every year the data of every year is available by census, by government. They count the population and they publish the data of every year, like in the year 2000 2001 how much population was there, right from there till the year 2020 how much population is there. So each and every data is available with the government. Now the point arises that it is necessary to say this data to the common people. Now if you jot it down theoretically and show it to the common people, it is very difficult to understand. And what these researchers are trying to say to the common people, it becomes very difficult. So I'm trying to say that if in the year 2000 2001 the population is, say, suppose 100 for an example, and in 2020 21 it is, let us say, it is 300. So each and every data, it may be 100, it may be 129, it may be 139, right from 2000 2001 to 2009 2020. So each and every data we don't get, means it is very difficult for us to understand the data and to make any comparison whether it has increased or whether it has decreased. So by way of a graph, what they will do, they will try to show us the trend, whether it is increasing, whether it is decreasing, in which particular year it has increased, in which particular year it has decreased, what is the effect of that increase or decrease in population will be make more clearer by way of graph. So we can easily, by if a line is particularly drawn on a paper or on a screen, LCD screen, we can easily see, we can easily take the decision whether the population is increasing or decreasing and what might be the effect of that on our economy. So this kind of various periods are involved, various time period is involved, more time period is involved. In that case we can make use of this graph. So you can say right from 2000 to 2020, it is a long period of 20 years. If you see data, it is very difficult for us to remember the data of each year. So by way of this graph, we can easily see through a single graph, through a single data sheet, what is the situation of our economy. Like the third point is changes occurring in various sectors of economy, whether a particular, for example, the demand of a particular product, a demand of a particular thing has increased or decreased. I want to know the demand of, let's say, a cloth market. What is the situation of the cloth market throughout the year? See, in festivals the demand of clothes may increase. So in January it is increasing, in February it is increasing or decreasing. In each and every month, what is the situation of my cloth? What is the demand of my cloth? I am in a cloth industry, so I want to know the demand of the cloth throughout the year. So it is a one kind of change. If it is in January it is decreasing, in February it has increased. Whether it is increasing or decreasing throughout the year, I can easily make a point through the use of the graph. Being a businessman, I can easily take decision. So in these particular months it is increasing, and in this particular months it is decreasing. I can also easily make the comparison that my business of cloth market is running like that, like in particular month it is this much. I can also take out the percentage. I can make use of the data in various forms, like in percentage, in ratio. I can easily make decision whether I am at a growth or I am at a reducing stage, so that I can compete with my competitors easily and I can beat my targets. by these graphs, the time of the presenter in explaining and the reader in understanding is saved. I am in this particular example, I am making this video, so I am a presenter of the video and my students are the reader. So by this video I am trying to make sure that it's easy for me to explain and it's easy for my students to understand. So these researchers and educationalists are trying to make easy the data available to the public through these graphs and diagrams. So these are the points which are for which it is necessary to understand the importance of diagrams and graphs. There are certain principles like demand and supply. You might have come through the law of demand and law of supply in standard 11th. I might have, if I'm not wrong. The law of demand and law of supply, price elasticity of demand and supply. All these data are presented through graphs or diagram, bar diagram, pie diagram. This data, line diagram, the time line which is based on the time periods. Through these diagrams and graphs, we can make use of these diagrams and graphs to make easy understand the law of demand and law of supply. So what aspects I need to consider? So this was the last topic, importance of diagrams and graphs in economics. The next one is aspects to be considered while drawing a diagram or a graph. Now I want to draw a diagram or a graph. So what points do I need to consider when I draw a diagram or graph? First of all, there are various types of diagrams and graphs available. So which kind of diagram do I choose? Which kind of graph do I choose so that I can easily understand my data? So that is the first point. If you know all kind of diagrams and graphs, you need to select the right one. You need to select the perfect. So in this chapter we will go through three types of diagram. The one is line diagram, bar diagram and pie diagram. Other diagrams are made in the further chapters. We will understand in further chapters. So the first point is right selection of diagram or a graph. Second one is clarity. Clarity means whatever you are trying to say through a diagram and graph, you should present it, you should plot it perfectly. Like you should write all data. In a graph there are two axes. We will understood that further. X-axis and Y-axis. X-axis is an independent variable and Y-axis is a dependent variable. So what you are showing on X-axis and what you are showing on Y-axis, the values you should reflect it properly so that your picture, your graph looks neat and clean and easily clearly understandable. The third one is scales and measures. There are certain measures like in the table you can see on page number 2, the 10,000 to 20,000. So it is a one kind of measure. It is a one kind of scale. The range is 10,000. 10,000 to 20,000. 20,000 minus 10,000. The range is 10,000. So it is a one kind of measurement. That measurement you should take it properly in a graph so that your graph doesn't look much big and much small. It should be a proper in size. It should look neat and clean and easily understandable. The next one is representation of axis. I have said earlier you should mention what is depicted in x-axis and what is reflected in y-axis. So x-axis reflects this and y-axis reflects this. For example, in a table you can see income class and number of people. So if you are showing income class on x-axis, you should write income class in rupees. These values are in rupees, and number of people, it is a number. So you can write on y-axis number of people. The next point is data table and source of data. You can see in magazines, in newspapers, in social media on TV. If a particular data is given, a table of data is given, lastly below the table or above the table the source is written. Source means from from where this particular data are taken. So it is very necessary to write the source of data in order to respect the patent or copyright of a particular data. If it is copied from somewhere, if it is taken from somewhere, you should mention the source of the data. The next one is method of calculating the data. How you have calculated the data, how you have taken the data from somewhere. If you have calculated any ratio, how you have calculated the ratio. If you have taken any percentage of data, how have you calculated the percentage of data. That method should be clearly stated in the table. The next topic is types of diagrams. See, there are 6 types of diagrams: pictogram, scatter diagram, line diagram, circle diagram, bar diagram, and pie diagram. These are basically the names of the diagrams. We will try to understand 3 types of diagrams in this particular chapter. The first one is line diagram, that is based on the time period. Second one is bar diagram, and third one is pie diagram. So first, what is line diagram? Line diagram means what? I have stated earlier the example of a growth rate of population in which there was a span of time period of 20 years. So if any data involves the time period means a long time period of, say, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. So you can make use of this line diagram, which is based on the time periods, to make a graph, to make a diagram. So the first one is line diagram. So in your book, example is given: decade and decadal growth of population. Decade means a period of 10 years. You might be aware of that. 1951 to 61, 61 to 7, so a 10 datas are 10 years gap is given, which is called a measurement. I stated earlier, a proper measurement is necessary in order to draw a diagram. So in this table, a proper measurement is given, which is exactly equal to 10 years, and the frequency is in the form of percentage. See, below the table, the source is mentioned from where this data are taken. It is Census of India. Census means a survey. The survey is done by Vadodara Municipal Corporation in our city. It is done every year. So from that particular register which they have maintained, these data are taken. See, besides that, a time-based line diagram is drawn. On x-axis, see, it is mentioned x-axis and y-axis. So on x-axis, I will show you the diagram. It will make you more clearer. See, on x-axis, it is x-axis and y-axis. On x-axis, the decade is mentioned, and on y-axis, the growth rate of population is mentioned. It is in the form of percentage. So it is very clearly stated in the line diagram what is there on x-axis and what is there on y-axis, and accordingly the data are plotted. So it is very much necessary to represent the details on both the axis and accordingly plot the line diagram. Now the next one is clear line-based diagram. So in 1951, the 21.64% population was there. 1961 to